Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Obi-Wan Kenobi takes us back to the years following Order 66, when many assumed Obi-Wan and Yoda were the only members of the Jedi Order to survive the Emperor's Purge. But like the grains of Tatooine sand still tumbling around in Vader's suit, I'm assuming, these culty refugees are coarse and rough and irritating and get everywhere. Yeah, if you consumed anything Star Wars beyond the films, you know that several Jedi survived Order 66, and that at this point in the Star Wars timeline, there may be as many as 200 Jedi survivors. That number dwindling by the day. Yet still, many of whom were believed to have died in the Purge, but as canon has been revised over the years, are now confirmed to have lived some pretty interesting years in exile and might have some important roles to play ahead. So let's break down the key players, proving that our buddy Ben ain't as alone as he thinks in this fourth episode of our series, Between the Duels. So who survived Order 66? Of course, we know Obi-Wan survived, otherwise we wouldn't have the show. He survived his attack from Commander Cody on Utapau, and then regrouped with Yoda at the Jedi Temple to see the aftermath of Anakin's assault with the 501st, even the younglings. Later, the two parted ways, Obi-Wan in exile to Tatooine, Yoda in exile to Dagobah. Clone Wars final season showed Ahsoka Tano and Maul's survival from Order 66 thanks to Rex's ability to resist his inhibitor chip. 2016's Ahsoka novel by E.K. Johnston tracks Ahsoka's agrarian exile and run-in with the Inquisitor, the sixth brother, before Ahsoka's able to rejoin Bail Organa to become the rebel Fulcrum agent. Of course, there was her survivor, Grogu, who had been trained in secret at the Jedi Temple for many years. The kid is the same age as Darth Vader, and Grogu was snuck out of the temple by someone. Presumably some Jedi who knew that he existed, but that doesn't mean that that Jedi also survived the night. Now, in previous episodes of the series, we recapped the issues of the 2017 Darth Vader comics by Charles Soule, explaining how the Jedi Temple librarian Jocasta Nu actually did survive that purge, and later backtracked to the temple to retrieve a holocron of Force-sensitive kids, a chip that Vader would later crush after killing Jocasta, but still give Vader a key point of contention, not just between him and the other Inquisitors, but between him and his Emperor Master. Now, if you look closely at these comics, there's a bunch of Orbish names on screen, hinting at other Jedi survivors being targeted, including Case Bernadune, Yoda, we knew about him, Quinlan Voss, Kirak and Fila, Jocasta Nu, and Ahsoka Tano. Quinlan Voss, awesome last name, is a longtime fan favorite Jedi, originally just a background character with yellow face paint in Tatooine and Phantom Menace, who was later given his own backstory. He was a master to Aayla Secura, and he showed up in a number of Clone Wars episodes. His fate remains unknown. Meanwhile, Kirak and Fila was a Jedi Master from whom Vader acquired the Kyber Crystal for his new red lightsaber. Kirak survived because he was living alone in a Jedi monastery on the moon of Aldalim at the time of the Purge. Now, to take a step back here, perhaps the creepiest thing about this arc of the comics was the way that the Emperor and Vader and the Inquisitors really just reclaimed the Jedi Temple. The Grand Inquisitor started reading books Jocasta had forbidden him to read, just like he owned the place. Meanwhile, the Emperor would go on to turn this temple into his private residence. He hosted a bonfire of Jedi lightsabers on the front steps. And actually, what Sidious knew that the Jedi did not is that the base of this Jedi temple was actually a Sith shrine, left there in the bedrock thousands of years earlier when the Jedi and Sith were at war over this turf. So for millennia, embedded in the roots of the Jedi establishment was a Sith cancer waiting to strike. Now, the game Jedi Fallen Order shows us the survival of the Jedi Cal Kestis, as well as Seer Junda, master to the converted Inquisitor Trillis Suduri, the second sister. The game also visits Dathomir and introduces us to the surviving Jedi General Terran Malicos, who used the last surviving Night Sister, Marin, to learn some dark magic until Marin got wise to his deceit and buried Malicos in the ground. Of course, in Rebels, we meet the surviving Jedi of Kanan Jarrus, who was once the Jedi Padawan Caleb Doom. We actually saw that escape from Order 66 and the killing of his master Deepa Balaba on Magito in the first episode of The Bad Batch. Kanan, of course, would later go on to work with the Rebel Alliance and train Force-sensitive youth Ezra Bridger, the key dramatic relationship of that series. Jedi Master Luminara Unduli was alongside Yoda at the Battle of Kashyyyk and was able to survive, but was sometime later captured by the Grand Inquisitor, and her corpse was used to lure Kanan and Ezra into a trap. Now, most of the members of the Jedi High Council were slain, but beyond Yoda and Obi-Wan, there is some debate over the fates of two other members, Mace Windu and Shaak Ti. Now, Windu, canonically as of this taping, remains dead, but Samuel L. Jackson and George Lucas have toyed with the idea that Windu might have been able to survive the fall, and I've definitely laid out several theories pitching Mace Windu as a strong candidate, at least, for the Jedi Master who rescued Grogu. Shaak Ti was first suggested to have died back during the battle in the opening act of Revenge of the Sith, but that was just in a deleted scene. Then in a 2008 game, The Force Unleashed, that suggested she survived and was later killed on Felucia, but various other materials have suggested that she died at the hands of Vader in accordance with Yoda's vision of that incident in the season 6 episode of Clone Wars called Voices. Now, the 2017 comics also tracked down the Jedi Farron Barr on Mon Cala. Farron managing to kill the Inquisitor, the 10th brother, but the guy was killed by Vader. The YA novel Force Collector explored the Jedi Nakh Med, who left the Order before Order 66 and had a daughter with an unidentified woman. He got in a duel with the Grand Inquisitor, but left his family to protect them. Similar fate occurred to the Jedi Master Eth Koth. We actually saw this guy on the Jedi High Council in Phantom Menace and in Attack of the Clones. He appeared in a number of Clone Wars episodes. He ended up leaving the Order, but still a devout Force follower. He had a wife and a daughter, but the poor guy was eventually hunted down by Vader and the Inquisitors and killed. And even worse, his daughter was kidnapped for the Emperor's Project Harvester baby snatching operation. These are the events that led to Vader killing those other two un-ID'd Inquisitors. And this is a bit later in the overall run when Vader and the Inquisitors had made a lot more progress in their Jedi hunting. And we actually see a list of 4 more names of Jedi survivors. Actually 5. At the top of that list is Obi-Wan Kenobi, but then we also see Coleman Kasaj, Apo Rancisis, Selrak Eluos, and Ka-Mun Koli. Now, Rancisis was a Jedi Master who served the Jedi Council during the invasion of Naboo. We saw him in the background of Phantom Menace. Kasaj served the Council at the end of the Clone Wars and oversaw Ahsoka's trial during Clone Wars. Both of these pretty high-profile badasses who may still be alive in Star Wars canon. And by the way, yeah, those names, many of them actually coming from comics writers spelled backwards. Like Selrak Eluos is Charles Soule spelled backwards. So there you go. That is over 20 known Jedi survivors of Order 66 confirmed in canon. And really, we should say in the years following Revenge of the Sith's release, there were a lot of storylines that are just now considered legends, but still any of which Lucasfilm could adopt back into canon. And one of the more hopeful undercurrents on the series is the way Obi-Wan Kenobi, despite his grim exile, is able to keep that spark of hope alive for any other Jedi survivors that he may meet, and how any of these Jedi survivors' continued existence drives Vader and the Inquisitors paranoid with rage, yet while still giving them a reason to exist at all. These Inquisitors are about to learn that one cannot eradicate all the Jedi. Like all cult ideologies, they'll just find a new island and a new generation of impressionable youth to spread their itch to. If it sounded gross, it's cause it is. I want to thank you for joining us for episode 4 of this Between the Duels series. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars, and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching, bye.